Rahim, welcome back. It is exactly 9:20 a.m. South African time. We cross over to Jenin in Palestine, and we're going to be talking with Osama Nazzal. He is a journalist, and we do speak with him on a pretty regular basis here in South Africa, where he gives us an update on the situation in Palestine. So once again today, we have dear brother Osama Nazzal online to talk to us about the terror, the displaced Palestinian people living in abject terror. Assalamu alaikum to you, brother Osama Nazzal. Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
As you know, we here at Salam Media keep the story of the Palestinian situation alive. We cover a Palestinian story almost daily here on our shows, and we will continue supporting the Palestinian cause and keep one and all in our du'as. Now, let's look at this latest situation in Palestine. We understand that the people are living in abject terror from day to day because they really don't know what is going to be the next move of the genocidal occupiers, and that of course is the Israelis. What can you tell us about latest developments, as heart-wrenching as they may be? What is the current situation in your part of the world?
As you described it, it is Israeli state terrorism against the Palestinian people everywhere in Palestine. The Israeli bombardment of every inch of Gaza is leaving hundreds of Palestinians dead and tens of thousands of Palestinians displaced in Gaza city, the city that was subjected to the Israeli terror attacks months ago. And after Israel announced that it completed its mission, between brackets here, in Gaza City, over the 48 hours, Gaza was again subject to Israeli bombardment, to Israeli shelling, and to Israeli snipers fire everywhere. We are talking about tens of thousands of people ordered by the Israeli occupation forces to move west. And when they moved from the east to the west, they found nowhere to stay, as every part is being subjected to shelling and bombardment by the Israeli warplanes and the Israeli tanks. The hospitals ran out of electricity as the generators have no more fuel, as Gaza is closed by the Israeli forces from Karim Abu Salim crossing and Rafah crossing. So Gaza is living the real tragedy that the modern history of humanity has never witnessed. You can't imagine how the Palestinian women, how the Palestinian children, how the Palestinian patients are sleeping down in the streets of Gaza City, as there is no place safe. Israel bombarded the United Nations schools and killed many displaced Palestinians within these schools, and bombarded the hospitals yards and everywhere. It is really expressive when we say that it is hell on earth. In the West Bank, where I'm speaking from, last night a large military force of Israel stormed into Tul Karim city and Nur Shams refugee camp in the northern part of the occupied West Bank. They are destroying all the streets, the infrastructure, storming the homes, filling the homes with explosives, detaining dozens of people, and making life unimaginable in this area of the West Bank, in addition to the Israeli incursion into Nablus city and Hebron, also in the south of the West Bank, attacking people's houses and detaining dozens of Palestinians. So we are talking about like non-human life. This is what Israel doing in the occupied West Bank and in Gaza.
So these sadistic terrorists are hell-bent on wiping out Palestinians from the face of the earth, because that's exactly their intention. We also understand that they issued new evacuation orders for Palestinians in several areas in Gaza City, including the Sabra, Remal, Tal Al Hawa, and Daraj neighborhoods. What's the situation looking like there, or is it the same everywhere in Gaza City?
Yeah, the situation in Gaza is unbearable. No human being can stand the living conditions in Gaza because you can't sleep as the Israeli bombs are falling over the houses, the shops, the streets, the hospitals, the schools, 24 hours a day. We saw how the children, the babies crying, the women shouting, the men running, knowing nowhere to go. So it is, as I described it, it is hell on earth. And no human being can expect that any people can stand or can stay in such a place. Israel is turning Gaza into a flame of fire, a flame of fire, the fuel of which are the women, the children, and the men of Gaza. What makes the situation worse is the inability of the United Nations and the international humanitarian aid organizations inability to access into Gaza because all the borders are closed, and even if they get into Gaza in a way or another, they can't distribute the humanitarian aid because the Israeli military are bombarding every part where, and we heard many reports from human rights organizations officials and United Nations officials describing how difficult it is for them to move it from one place to another to provide aid for the Palestinians. The Palestinians in Gaza spent last night in the streets without food, without water, without the blankets, without anything. Life there is a reflection of the brutality and the inhumanity and the barbarism of the Zionist regime that rejects any window for calm and for a quietude and continues bombarding, bombarding, bombarding.
And of course, that also means that the peace process will be put on hold because Hamas chief Ismail Haniyeh has said that the Israelis' military attacks in Gaza could push mediated ceasefire talks back to square one. This was reported in a statement on the group's Telegram channel. And he also goes on to say, in light of the massacres, killings, and displacement that is being carried out by this terrorist regime, these occupiers, Ismail Haniyeh has made urgent contact with the mediators, warning of disastrous repercussions, noting that this would return the negotiation process back to square one. What are you hearing on the ground?
Really, the Israeli Prime Minister office, the war criminal, the killer of children in Gaza, Benjamin Netanyahu, issued a statement yesterday or 2 days ago confirming that Israel is not concerned about stopping the war, confirming that Israel is going to continue its genocidal campaign against Palestinians, because he says that any deal that Israel could reach must guarantee that the war won't stop. So Israel is not interested in stopping the war on Gaza. Israel is determined to go ahead with killing more children and women of the occupied Palestinian territories, and the Israeli Prime Minister is turning a blind eye to all the international calls and to all the people's appeals to stop this mad war against the women and the children of Palestine. So I think that Israel is failing any effort by any party, even if the party that is broking and mediating today is the United States, and we know of the relationship, the organic relationship between Israel and the United States. Despite that, Benjamin Netanyahu is rejecting the United States President's initiative that the Palestinians agreed to, and declares from time to time that he is going to live up to the expectations of the extremist terrorist government ministers like Ben Gvir and Smotrich, and continue the war in Gaza and the colonial settlement building in the occupied West Bank. And as I mentioned, that here in the West Bank, the city of Tulkarim and its refugee camp are living now, right now, the situation that Gaza is living. The Israeli bulldozers are destroying everything, detaining, shooting, beating, doing everything bad that people could think of.
On that very horrific note, then we'll end the show. Thank you for your time. We continue keeping the Palestinian people and the people, particularly of Gaza, in our du'as. And of course, this is the relentless siege of the murderous, sadistic Israeli occupiers that are hell-bent on cleansing they God's chosen people. That's the narrative they put out to the whole world. They are God's chosen people, and they want to ethnic cleanse their land of the Palestinian people. They indeed are God's chosen people. They are the chosen devils that we've always been warned about, shaitan and devils on this earth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide and protect us all, inshallah. Osama Nazzal, shukran for your time. Keep safe, inshallah, and salamu alaikum to you.
Wa alaikum assalam. Thank you very much.
9:31 on News and Views, and we are going to take a short break before we are joined by Zahir Raja. He is a volunteer and coordinator at IRSA.